Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this Thursday. I hope you are having a wonderful day and enjoying the sunshine. It is a beautiful day outside, so please get out and enjoy it. Get some fresh air, move your body a little bit, enjoy the creation that God has given us. Today, we are going to learn another lesson about patience because our theme this week is God gives me patience. And I hope you've been practicing that memory verse because we're about to do it. Are you ready? Let's do it. Always be humble and gentle. Be patient and accept each other with love. Ephesians 4:2. Let's do it one more time. Always be humble and gentle. Be patient and accept each other with love. Ephesians 4:2. Now, I was thinking about the different things I could do for patience, and it struck me that there is a Bible story that really relates to what we're going through right now. Right now, I am getting impatient being in the same house every single day, not being able to go out, not being able to do my normal routine of things, and so I feel very confined. I feel stuck, and I'm sure some of you feel that way too. And there is a Bible story in which they were very literally stuck for a very long time. And that's the story of Noah. And Noah, not only was he a wonderful man of God, which is why God chose him and his family to save, but he was patient. Imagine not just being stuck in your house with your family, but with lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! That changes the situation quite a bit. So I'm going to read the story of Noah, and then we'll talk about how he showed patience and what the story of Noah can teach us about the situation we're going through today. Now, I'm going to read the story of Noah from the Children's Storybook Bible, or the Jesus Storybook Bible. If you have this, you can read along with me, or you can listen, or you can read the story of Noah in your own Bible, which might sound a little bit different, but it's the same story. Now, before I begin, get nice and comfy. Stretch out. Get nice and still, and let's get ready to hear the Word of God. A new beginning. Time passed, and many people filled the earth. Everyone everywhere had forgotten about God and were only doing bad things all the time. God's heart was filled with pain when he saw what had happened to the world he loved. Everywhere was disease and death and destruction, all the things God hates most. Now Noah was God's friend, which was odd in those days because no one else was. Noah listened to God. He talked to God. He just loved being with God, like you do with your best friend. Noah, God said, things have gone wrong. People have filled my world with hate instead of love. They are destroying themselves and each other and my world. I must stop them. First, we'll build an ark. Do you know how to build an ark? Neither did Noah. Luckily, God knew, and he would show him. A storm is coming, God told Noah. But I will rescue you, I promise. I'll send the animals to you, ones that creep and crawl and slither and slime and gallop and hop and bound and climb. And don't forget to pack everyone's food. The storm was going to wash away all the hate and sadness and everything that had gone wrong and make the world clean again. God had thought up a way to keep Noah safe, but Noah would have to trust God and do exactly what God told him. So Noah built an ark, short for a very large boat. Noah's neighbors came out to watch and point and laugh because they didn't believe Noah about the boat or the storm or needing to be rescued. And Noah must have looked rather silly. His boat was in the desert. The desert was nowhere near the sea. And there wasn't even a cloud in the sky. Why would anyone need an umbrella, let alone a boat? But Noah didn't mind so much what other people thought. He minded what God thought. So he just did what God told him to do. When the ark was ready, God said, "All aboard?" And Noah's family and all the animals climbed inside. Then God shut the door. And it started raining for minutes that joined up into hours, that joined up into days, that joined up into weeks and weeks. And the rain joined up into puddles, that joined up into rivers, that joined up into lakes, that joined up into a flood that covered the whole world. Their boat that had once seemed so big suddenly seemed very small. But in the middle of the huge storm and the crashing waves and all the thunder and lightning through it all, God was with them. And God kept them safe for 40 long days and 40 long nights. Finally, the rain stopped. The sun came out and Noah threw open all the windows. "Hooray!" everyone shouted. Noah sent his dove out to explore, and it wasn't long before she brought him back a fresh olive leaf. Everyone knew exactly what that meant. She had found a tree and land. The water was going down. At last, the boat landed quite suddenly on top of a great mountain. As soon as it was safe, God said, "Out you come!" And so they did, everyone skipping and dancing onto dry land. The first thing Noah did was to thank God for rescuing them just as he had promised. And the first thing God did was make another promise. "I won't ever destroy the world again." And like a warrior who puts away his bow and arrow at the end of a great battle, God said, "See, I have hung up my bow in the clouds." And there, in the clouds, just where the storm meets the sun, was a beautiful bow made of light. It was a new beginning in God's world. It wasn't long before everything went wrong again, but God wasn't surprised. He knew this would happen. That's why, before the beginning of time, he had another plan, a better plan. A plan not to destroy the world, but to rescue it. A plan to one day send his own son, the rescuer. God's strong anger against hate and sadness and death would come down once more, but not on his people or his world. No, God's war bow was not pointing down at his people. It was pointing up into the heart of heaven. Okay, a lot to break down from this story. You all know the story of Noah, but I want you to think about it a little bit differently. Think about our world right now. We are in the middle of the flood. We are all stuck inside our own little arks with our family. We can't do anything. We are very limited in the places we can go, and when we do go, we have to be very, very careful. And we don't know how long it will last. We know that the flood lasted for 40 days and 40 nights, but Noah didn't know that at the time. Noah just knew when it stops raining, it'll stop raining. I have to trust God that he knows when it's time for the rain to stop. And that when the rain stops, I'll send out a dove and hope that when it's time for us to come out, God will give me a sign, bring me a branch. And he did. It's very easy to look at that story and think, well, it worked out for Noah, it'll work out for us. And that's true, it will, but it may not be in 40 days. It may be months. And that is hard. We are feeling very trapped, isolated, alone. And I'm sure Noah's family felt the same way. They were the only people left. They had to have felt alone. And not just alone, but irritated. Not only are you dealing with your brothers and sisters and your mom or dad, but you're dealing with all of these crazy animals in one space. Who knows how that went? I would love to find out how they kept all of that in line, because goodness knows it's hard enough keeping my family in line, and I only have 3 people and 1 dog. I can't imagine keeping every land animal and every person in my family happy for 40 days. That sounds like an incredible amount of work. Noah was patient. Noah had faith. And it was because of that faith that allowed him to be as humble and patient through that whole scenario. And it was because of his patience and because of his faith that at the end of it, when they did finally settle on a mountain, the first thing he knew he had to do was to thank God. I believe that at the end of all of this, we will have our own rainbow moment. There may not be an actual rainbow in the sky, but God is seeing us through this. He hasn't gone anywhere. We are not out of his sight, out of his care. I also believe that he knows the exact moment when this will be over, when we will be free, when we will be out of our ark, free to go and enjoy the world around us again. I also know, or I hope, that when this is all over, the world will be a little bit different. We won't be so hung up on political beliefs or differences. We'll remember to love each other first. I hope that is the case. Because otherwise, what has this all been for? And that's a question for God. Now, remember, we're talking this week about patience, and I've talked about a lot of things with this story because Noah is one of those great stories that teaches so many lessons and really can be used for a lot of different things in life. But today I want you to focus on the fact that Noah was patient in a situation that seemed so unusual and made him an outcast. He was patient and listened to God and talked to God and didn't care what anybody else said. He listened. He waited. He was patient. Remember that being patient doesn't just mean waiting. It means waiting with a godly attitude, with a good attitude. Happily waiting. We don't know how long this situation will last. God does. But until it is over, take every day with patience and trust and believe that God has you in his hands, because he does. Take some time to read the story of Noah today and focus on just how much faith it took to get through that. And then come up with your own thing that you will really wait to do at the end. Besides, thank God, because that should be the first thing. But what will you want to do? I love you all. I am patiently waiting for the day that this is over. And I have faith and I trust that God will get us through this. Have a wonderful Thursday. I'll see you tomorrow.